Okay, Prof, we are going to let us have your view on the connection between metaphysics and bioethics. We are taught that one of the core branches of philosophy is metaphysics, and philosophy being a science of itself and science of other sciences. And we see bioethics as science of values. So, can you establish the connection between metaphysics and bioethics?
Well, metaphysics we have already defined to be the theory of being, the theory of reality. And by that, bioethics is a reality that we have to study. Now, bioethics in itself is a compound word. There was bio there, and which is a short version of biology. Bio here simply means life. And then when you add logos to it, it becomes biologos, meaning the study of life. Now, what kind of life does biology study? The kind of life that biology studies, the characteristics of living things. That is physical life. Biology does not study spiritual life, mental life. What it studies is physical life. And the physical life is studied, that's why it's reduced to the acronym, Mr. Nanja D. M for movement, R for respiration, N for nutrition, I for irritability, G for growth, another R for reproduction, then E for excretion, then D for death. So these are characteristics of all organic entities that manifest characteristics of living physical life. Now, what will now add ethics to bio? Bio that we hyphenate, we say ethics. We are now taking ethics to regulate biology. And let me explain ethics in the simplest sense. Ethics simply means philosophical study of morality, or the scientific discourse of morality. Morality is where we study about human value systems, how human beings should behave, and what constitutes virtue, what constitutes vice, what are the standards for measuring virtue, what are the standards for measuring vice, and what is the result of these two to the human society. Now, so when we attach ethics to biology, it means, I will call it bioethics. It means that we want to use ethics, start dealing with the discourse of human value orientation, to discuss activities in biology. And this entails that there is a problem. Now, what is the problem? Remember I said that the totality of metaphysics can be divided. That's metaphysics as in practice, what I call case metaphysics. You can divide it into two broad headings: metaphysical generalists and metaphysical specialists. Now, biology itself is a metaphysical specialist or specialized metaphysics. Why? Because biology is interested in studying characteristics of living things. And in studying the characteristics of living things, biology also studies the structure of living things. For instance, in biology, you have the study of cell. So everything in biology is zeroed down to the study of cell, so that we make distinction between animal cell, plant cell. Now, the study of cell led into the study of the inner structure of the cell. Then they came up with what we call the cell walls, cell membrane, the cytoplasm, Google wall, the food sac, and what then the most central part of the cell is nucleus. Now, they now took a further study into the nucleus, and they encountered chromosomes. They took a further study and they discovered genes. They took a further study of that. They first came to RNA, then to DNA. The DNA is the latest stage. At the point of the DNA, the atom and the cell are discovered to constitute, that DNA constitute the atom and the cell. So at that point, physics, chemistry, and biology merge to what we call molecular biology. With that, asexual reproduction of multicellular organisms is possible. Because if you come to the characteristics of living things, one of the characteristics is reproduction. Now, Microorganisms don't practice cross breeding. What they do is asexual reproduction, like viruses and bacteria. They just divide, and once they divide, each part of the bacteria keep replicating. Any part of the bacteria that divides keeps replicating another bacteria. So one bacteria can divide 1,000,000 times in 1 minute, but as they replicate, they die quick too. But the number that they replicate or they reproduce outnumber the number that dies. Now, for multicellular organisms like human beings, we have to go through a long, tedious way of men, like let me use the hen and the cock. The cock has to virtually pursue the hen all throughout the whole street of Lagos before he will peg the hen at a corner, rape her at the end, then put the sperm there to give a shield to the eggs. The eggs are already there in the hen. And so that the hen is laying the eggs, there is a shield covering each egg. That's what the cock does for the hen. Before the hen then begins to lay eggs and incubate for 20. But that 3 months are gone. But with biology, you can shorten the process. What you just do, take the cockerel and the hen, crossbreed them, and you produce what you call layers. Then give them a special feed. And so you have what you call egg industry. The egg industry is that you just get your layers and feed them with the correct feed, give them the correct feed. They just begin to shit egg for you. Each fowl can lay 30 eggs a day. And by the time they stop laying much eggs, you sell them off for eating. Now, a time now came because of commerce and capitalism, the issue of cloning came in. And the issue of what you call transhumanism came in. And the question of genetically modified food came in. And when these things came in, we discovered that once the genetically modified food, the real essence of the food is being lost. In the process of quickening the process, we produce very large apples that can be as big as my head, but genetically harmful to the body. So that you have today in some part of the world, you have section for GM food and organic food. So you can find organic food, the apples are like this, while the GM food, the apples are like as big as my fist. But the one that are smaller will be more expensive because it's natural. Now that is being taken to animals, and that is distorting the natural state of things. And if we take it to the human level, it leads to what you call transhumanism. And part of transhumanism is transgender. And we say by the time we take this biology too far, molecular science too far, the original state of things will be altered. In the case of the human being, what is metaphysical about the human being? That which you call the self. Self, onwe, any. What the Yorubas call any, the Igbo call onwe mmadu, any inyo, onwe mmadu. The self of the human being will be destroyed. Just like genetically modified food have destroyed the original self of natural food. If you apply that technology to human being, it will destroy the human self. So it means that if you allow this biology to continue without using ethics to regulate it, using human values to regulate it, they will become what Adolf Toffler calls transvaluation of values. That is to say, the original human values like we know it will be destroyed and replaced by artificial values that are no longer human. And that is what transgender or transhumanism will lead us to. And so, the way metaphysics is going to come into bioethics is through the process of metaphysical anthropology. That is to say, metaphysics being the anchor of ethics. Because what is ethics in the first instance? Ethics is the application of the human power of the mind, the power of transcendence, to define rules of of organization and rules of engagement that constitute the value system of a culture, the value system of a society. This value system becomes the standard for all professions. Whatever profession you belong to, whatever occupation you belong to, and we say this value system should guide the human trajectory. And once these value systems are destroyed, the human value system is destroyed. And so, what ethics is doing to checkmate or create checks and balances for biology, it is us as metaphysical beings that are doing it. Ethics is not the one doing it, but human beings are using ethics that we have developed as a device for evaluating what constitutes the realm of human value and what does not constitute the realm of human value. So ethics is a tool in the hands of the metaphysical being called human being to regulate the activity of the same human being in the realm of biology. So it is still metaphysical being regulating its own metaphysical activities in biology using ethics.